I just want to add one thing to my video last night. You saw how many white women voted for Trump, and you saw how many white women voted against Stacey Abrams. White women were never going to vote for Stacey Abrams. White women don't want a black woman over them upsetting the hierarchy.
Good day, good day, good day. What's up, everybody? Okay, so if you can tell from the title, you'll understand where we're going. Seems like the black man is the scapegoat for everything these days. Black men are the scapegoat for any conversation that you want to have. We're like, who stole the Jello? Black man, I'm certain. Okay, so where do we start? Okay, all right. So it seems to me that before Stacey Abrams, before the votes were casted, it was automatically a discussion about if she lost, that she would lose because of black men not voting for her. And I find that to be very revealing. The reasoning is because the state is not solely black men and black women. There are white men and white women. So if you understand that the Senate was drawn between two black men, and the number one issue that women might find themselves on, or should find themselves on, is abortion, then you know that the candidates were probably going to be close. I say the reasoning behind that is because, real simple, that a person can vote and cross lines on candidates. So if a person really wants to look at, if they're young, if they want to look at that, but then they also are backing their regular candidate, they're going to switch. But the problem here is not black men. Black men have the ability, and black women have the ability to choose whomever they want or not. You might say you have to vote. And the key might be that if you continuously feel like you've been voting and never seeing any results to your interest, then that's a key. Because some people might say, well, the higher up situations are making changes. We're seeing more people in higher positions. But that doesn't change your community. It doesn't change the outlook of your community. It doesn't change the rundown, the abuse that you see going on in your community, and not all communities. But to be fair, if you're looking at Georgia, it doesn't really truly matter whether you live in the city or if you live in the suburbs. If crime is an issue and the deterioration of your community, as you see it being more run down, you have to wonder where are the resources that should be coming to your area once you vote for that candidate. But that's not in full the main reason. I would say that if a candidate, if they don't vote for a candidate, if some people don't vote, because the majority of the people that voted for Stacey Abrams were black women and black men. So if a small amount of black men do not vote for you, nor do they vote for the Republican candidate, the key would be, where are all the other votes? Because there's quite a bit of people voting for the Democrat for their position when it comes to abortion rights. But when it came to voting for governor, they chose to go for the candidate that they want to represent them. And so black women voted for the candidate that they wanted and for Abrams. But white women voted possibly for the candidate that they wanted, well, definitely for the candidate that they wanted, for whether they were against abortion or for abortion. But then they chose the candidate that they wanted to represent them, which is the white man. So throwing out the picture instead of trying to blame it on black men, it seems to me that was already agenda. The agenda was set forth by the Democratic Party to automatically blame the black man, opposed to blaming white women and white men. Because obviously the other candidate got voted in, right? Had more votes. Why is there not an issue with saying, hey, you didn't vote in your best interest? I think that I was giving you the things that were going to be in your best interest, and you didn't vote for me, right? So on that note, blaming the black man is ridiculous. It's the most asinine thing that I've ever heard. Because you can blame at this point, you can blame the black man for everything. Anti-Semitism, why there are no peanuts on airplanes, or why there only are peanuts on airplanes. I mean, why they don't serve meals on airplanes. It doesn't make any sense. It's like, obviously the black man is the scapegoat. But my thought here is, where does Abrams come off with that? Does she get that from the whites that are above her? Does she take the orders of the party and the party says this is how we're going to handle it? And is the party white? And of course, the answer is yes. So the key is, if black men don't vote for you, doesn't mean that they voted Republican. If that Republican is not in their interest, they might feel that not voting is in their interest. And for the individuals that say you have to vote, because if you don't vote, you're foolish, I would say that if you feel that both parties don't really benefit your interests, then you have to make them want to vote or want to get your vote. So if you step out of the party, then that's the way it is. You've taken a stand. You can't necessarily say that it is ridiculous because our people have never had to vote. You know how many Asians that probably don't vote? How many Spanish people that probably don't vote? And you know how many Spanish people didn't vote for her? Probably a lot. Because it almost seems like as much as the Democratic Party is willing to bring anybody and everybody that's Spanish into their party, Spanish people don't necessarily go with the Democratic Party. They don't see themselves as needing and wanting. And that's another thing, because it seems to me that the Democratic Party is always trying to provide resources, needy resources. I don't need needy resources. I need what other communities are able to get access to, I want. I don't want to be needy. I don't need free telephones in my area. I don't need a lot of free stuff. I need access to the resources, and I need to be able to see changes in my community. It seems like they seem to think that all black people are on welfare and all black women need this and that and whatever the case may be. But that's not what black men want. And nevertheless, black men don't have access to the resources that they give black women. Let's be fair, right? Or not black women, women in general. So if women are happy with the access to all the things that they get, I understand certain things for kids in impoverished neighborhoods where lunches and all this other stuff, I get it. But at the same time, we also have to understand that half of these schools that are religious are getting money from resources that have been set up for poor, right? It doesn't mean that it is a poor school. It could be in a suburb. It could be in a white suburb. It could be a white Christian school, a white Jewish school. There's a lot of resources that people don't understand. So nevertheless, let's get back to the reason. Black men, if a portion of black men didn't vote, a tiny portion didn't vote, Your problem is not with black men. Your problem is the immediate white women and white men that didn't vote for you, because your agenda is not a black agenda as a governor. And you might say, well, we put up $10 million. $10 million does not help anyone with all the businesses that are existing that are black. It doesn't help. That's not a lot of money. So let's get past that. But anyway, let's get back to the idea of who to blame. And the reality is you have to blame white men and white women for why Stacey Abrams did not win. And that's it. And let's be fair. I'm really tired of how the Democratic Party seems to think that we, as black people, are based only on sex. Everything that we're approached with when it comes, or let's just not say the Democratic Party, let's just say whites in general. Because when it came to getting vaxxed, it was about having mystical and vaxing. When it came to voting, it was Saucy Santana. What kind of bullshit do you think this is? What do you think that black people think about? Do you think we just think about like animalistic shit sexually? Like, I know you see it in our videos, but the majority of us are not that shit. But then again, maybe they're right. Maybe we are and I'm not. So maybe no sex if you don't vote is the way to approach us. But for us, for some of us, and I'm not living in Georgia, so I can't tell you what the average man thinks from Georgia. But that shit is some disrespectful shit, if you ask me. And nobody in their right mind would think that that is an advertisement that you can push on black people. But I wonder if they put that across Stacey. I wonder if they asked Stacey, do you think that this is good? You know, like Stacey went to different churches, Creflo Long's church. She went to all these different places. And they all clapped for her and they went crazy. The question is, what happened in the white communities? And that's it. Stop allowing people to blame black people, black men. Do we all want to have a bunch? Let's just say, do all black women want to be feminist and to be alone and to be in control and to dictate every single thing? Or do you think men have a place? Because I'm wondering, because let's be fair, white feminists go home to their white men, whether it's a boyfriend, a fiance, or a husband. And in all cases, that man is in control in that household. They like that. But they feed you. They feed women, black women. And then no other group of people have I heard strong white woman, strong Indian woman, strong Asian woman. I've just heard strong black women. And they feed you this as black women. It's like getting the compliment like, oh, you're so strong, girl. It's like getting the compliment of, oh, you speak so well. Then you begin to feel that you're probably above other blacks that they've met. But you have to ask yourselves, how many other blacks have you met if I'm this high on the totem pole? So I can only tell you this. If you don't agree or you agree, it doesn't really matter. It's just something to think about. And you might say, well, all of this is crazy. He has no facts. I would say if you do a run of checking the numbers of how the polls went, I'm certain that you'll find that you're not going to find probably a lot of Spanish people voted for her. You probably might not find very much Asians, whether they voted or not. But you'll definitely find that a lot of whites did not vote. And my concern is I don't quite think you expect to win without the white vote. So if the numbers went down this time opposed to the last time, you'd have to see how the numbers were affected. Who voted the last time for her? And who didn't this time? And I'm certain you're going to find that the numbers do not just deal with black men. I would like to think that that is helpful enough for you to be able to make a better decision on how you view this and not listen to the propaganda. Because the propaganda seems to be lately, it just seems to be, that everything that is negative is black men. Peace.